It didn't take much more than a bottle and 2 chairs to make a speakeasy. This is what Daniel Okrent said in his book, Last Call, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition. Today, join us for some stories. Get your own bottle, glass, or mug, and relax. This is Speak Easily, and I'm your host, Krista Stauffer.
When Doug and I first moved into our place together, I set up the kitchen. And he was so mad at me about that because he couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So will you be able to know where things are?
Yeah, I've already done all the hard parts.
Okay.
The decision-making parts, right? And now it's like, straighten these things up and unpack this box, but it's logical where the things from the box are going to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The strategic decisions have been made.
That's true. Well, and I find probably like you do, and I'm sure you do the same, like moving from one place to the next, you tend to set up the kitchen kind of the same way. It's not real innovative. Like,
No.
Right.
Is the junk drawer on this side or on this side?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You just make a decision. Go like, oh, that's the logical place that feels the same as the last place for where my silverware goes.
Right. Absolutely. I went last weekend. I didn't even tell you this. I told literally nobody, but I went away. I think I told you that. I went to a tiny house.
Oh.
And I stayed by myself.
Cool.
It was glorious.
Nice. Yeah.
I drank wine. I made fire. I binged watched a series on Hulu.
Nice.
10:15, highly recommend it. If you haven't heard of this show, it is.
I see the ads for it all the time.
It's like they put a camera on us when we were in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So they talk about AOL. They play the sound. I went right back there.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah.
It was kind of disturbing in a way.
Yeah.
So how big was your tiny house?
I mean, it was tiny.
Yeah.
But it was like the bottom was just the kitchen, and then the bathroom. Bathroom was nice. I did appreciate that. But then there was kind of stairs that had cabinets underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bed up there. It was a queen size bed. And then the other side had a ladder going up, and they had just like a bed roll and a TV and pillows. And
that's cool. Like we watch a lot of tiny home videos on YouTube.
Super cute.
Like, yeah, one of my dreams, my retirement plan is to basically buy a school bus and convert it into a tiny home, and both of us just drive around the country and see amazing sights. That's what I want to do.
Awesome.
Down with home ownership. Yeah.
Leda, now that you've just started a new job, what's your retirement goal?
Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 40-ish years? I don't know.
I think there might be like a one of those little teardrop shaped things that you attach to the trailer of your car and drive around in. That's what I've got my eyes on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd be okay not to travel around.
Really? You'd want to stay in one place?
Well, you know how much money I make. I want to have several places.
Lots is the answer.
the money that this podcast is bringing in.
Oh,
we
man.
definitely covered that. But no, I would want to have a couple different places because I do like seasons, just not winter.
Yeah.
So that I could have, and I don't want to be in somewhere super grossly hot in the summer either.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no place I've seen that will suffice all of my,
So you would be a migratory person at that point. You'd change depending on the season.
But a couple different places.
Okay.
Like I'd need a place in the mountains for sure.
Yep. Mountains are a must.
Not a beach person, so that's not necessary. Just warmer.
Yeah. See, I like mountains all year long though.
I do too.
Mountains are awesome.
But it is cold sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's when you just like stay at home and be an introvert and don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
That sounds amazing.
This is, Leda, you have caught me on the best day of the year since March 12th. My children are in school today.
Wow.
It is so wonderful.
Yeah, that's huge.
I mean, it's one of those, like, Ben's kiddo went back to school yesterday as well. Like, there's this eerie, beautiful silence.
Mm-hmm.
And another parent was like, "It's weird, isn't it?" I said, "No, it's wonderful."
It's glorious. Yeah.
I just walked around in silence in my house today because my husband took my son to school and was like, Of course, then he came home and went to work. So I'm like, I'm going to get out of here. Yeah. But so you're in Columbus now.
I am.
Yeah. You've had a crazy journey. Where are you originally from?
Well, so my dad was a foreign service officer. So he worked at embassies. So I am mostly from Southeast Asia.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm from a lot of different places. Went to middle school in Nepal. But more recently than that, I went to high school in Toronto, and my mom's side of the family is from that area. So that's kind of my hometown.
Okay.
But Milwaukee is the place I've lived the longest. I was 7.5 years in Milwaukee.
Wow.
So that kind of feels like my hometown, but I didn't live there till I was an adult. So.
Well, so you're used to the cold then.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm half Canadian. I'm good on cold.
That's true. And then you're in Chicago, so I mean.
Right. So I think actually it's going to be better here.
It's not. Well, I don't know. I mean, Chicago can get pretty gloomy in the winter as well, but it's just so dark here.
Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint. It's like, do we have a sun? Is it gonna? No.
Yeah.
Not want to. Okay. Tomorrow.
I like snow a lot, so I hope. Some snow's good every once in a while.
If you get the teardrop thing soon, I might borrow it for the winter. You can have the snow.
Right.
You and my husband.
Right.
He wants to move to Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the cold weather person. Like he loves the city, and wow. So Nepal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nepalese? Was it taught in English? Or?
Yeah, I went to an American curriculum international school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've always gone to school in English. The cool thing is that, at schools like that, you've got people in your classroom from all over the world, right? So anyone, right, as an international school, it's really mostly people who are not from that country, who have moved there for whatever reason, and are going to school. So yeah, so I had friends from a whole bunch of different places, and moved about every 3 to 4 years growing up. So
oh my gosh, was that
feeling ready to just put down some roots and settle.
Yeah. What was your favorite place that you moved to in all of those traveling?
Absolutely years? Nepal. Totally.
Really?
Were you up in the mountains and everything, or?
Yeah. It's kind of like there's the flatlands, and then there's the hills, and then there's the mountains. And so the capital city, Kathmandu, is right in the hilly region. But if the weather was pretty good and it was clear, you could definitely see the Himalayas.
Oh my God!
From the school playground, right?
That's cool.
It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Wow. What was the culture like there? I mean,
I think it's the only Hindu country in the world. So religiously, it's predominantly Hindu, and then with a lot of Buddhist and Tibetan Buddhist influences. Yeah. I lived in the city, so I lived with people who were all like city folks. But then also like in Nepal, right, when you go hiking up into the mountains, then you meet a lot of people who are living in villages and right, lots of rice farming, things like that.
Oh my God. That is so cool. I did not know this about you.
That's my fun fact.
That is your fun. I'm sure you have more. And I have to ask you, this is another strange question, but something I thought about. What is the derivation of your name? I've never met a Leda before.
Yeah, so I was born in Greece because my dad was working there. And so Leda's a Greek name.
Okay.
And there's a nice awkward story from mythology called Leda and the Swan, which you can Google later if you want. Weird things happen in Greek mythology.
Okay.
That's true.
That's awesome. But it's not short for anything. It's just Leda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have brothers?
She was the queen of Sparta.
Okay.
And she's Helen of Troy's mom, which I think that's some good genes, right?
Yeah. That is good genes. Yeah. Well-known genes.
Uh-huh.
Dig that too. Yeah. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I've got a younger brother.
Okay. What is his name?
And his name is Paul because it's my dad's middle name.
Okay.
So
okay.
The pattern did not hold.
Now, is he in the States as well?
Yeah, he lives in San Francisco.
Okay. You really do need this teardrop thing. Like you've got
yes.
a lot of traveling happening.
Mm-hmm. Very, very spread out.
Where's the rest of your family then?
So my dad lives in Peoria, Illinois, where he's originally from. So he retired and he's living there now. Okay. And until last week, my mom lived in Malaysia. But she's decided to come back. I'm getting married in a week. So she's coming to the wedding, and then she's going to go take care of my grandparents who live outside Toronto for a little bit. So right now she lives in my house, but only for the next week. And then she's off to new things.
I had forgotten your wedding was coming up so fast. Where are you guys doing? What are you doing?
We're having a tiny ceremony in Catherine's parents' backyard.
Okay.
So, and we'll have a big party another year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can coordinate it with my 42nd birthday, because I'm thinking by the time I turn 42, this will all be said and done.
I hope so.
Gosh, I hope so.
Or either that,
Yeah.
or we're just not 40 yet.
Mhm.
We just don't count this year.
It will be done when I'm 42.
And you turned 42 before me, so that's good.
I turned 41 in October. So
Let's just move this along.
Yeah.
I mean,
That'll help.
it's fine.
Yeah.
there you go.
So then
It's a lot of pressure. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, let's get this disease over with, Ben. It's gone on long enough.
I'm working on it, okay?
In Ben's spare time, when he's not doing media work, he's creating vaccines.
I've got a lab in the
Yes.
back of the studio.
Excellent.
I wouldn't say that
So.
too loud. So did you go to high school then overseas, or were you in Toronto?
In Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you speak a lot of languages? That's a weird
I
question.
don't. It's
Okay.
it's terrible, but I really don't. When I was very little, I could speak Bahasa Indonesia, which is the language they speak in Indonesia.
Okay.
And then I went to school, right? I went to school in English, and it all went out the door.
Wow.
So when I used to visit my mom in Malaysia, which I haven't been there now in 10 years almost, but when I used to visit, and I feel like I can pick up on some things a little faster because they must be somewhere in the back of my brain, but nope.
Oh my goodness. You didn't have to study French in
Yes,
Toronto?
we did. Yes, you have to study French when you go to high school in Canada.
Okay.
But I
That-
also, because I got there in 8th grade, I started behind everybody. So, everyone had been taking French since kindergarten, and I showed up and didn't speak any French at all. So my French is, it exists.
Yeah.
Not very good.
I like that. Do you have that on your resume? French exists.
Mediocre French.
I think I finally took German off my resume. It's like we're down to about 12 words now.
Yeah. All of mine are swear words. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you can order a beer. I mean, that's
I could probably get away with it. Yeah.
Right.
But that would be, I'd be like, yes, got it.
Yeah. There was once, I think I've told you this, Leda, there was one time I was doing a mission trip, and our stopover was in Zurich, and with Swiss Air, of course, they speak German first, then French, then English.
Mhm.
I was pretty proud of myself because I took 5 years,
Mhm.
granted a long time ago. But they would ask everyone as they came up in the line, sprechen Sie Deutsch? And I was very excited. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay. So I get up there and the woman's like, sprechen Sie Deutsch? I said, yeah, ein bisschen. And she's like, I'm like, no, literally ein bisschen. Sorry, English, American. Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah.
But if you went, I don't know where I'm from now.
That's West Virginia.
I know.
Wait.
I don't even go there. I haven't been there. If you went somewhere where they were French speaking, would you be able to pick it up now?
I think like in a reading world, right? I can read in French okay. Right? I can read some signs. I could figure out where I am and where to go. But I tried in college. I was in Paris, and I tried to call a hotel and it did not go well. Like my speaking it's not very good. So I would say no. I think reading would be okay.
Okay. Where did you go to college then?
I went to college at Grinnell in Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah. So right, like it's on I-80. It's right in the middle of Iowa, between Iowa City and Des Moines.
Yeah.
Right, super small liberal arts college. It was great. Loved every minute.
What did you study?
I was a theater major and almost a history major.
Really?
Yeah.
How almost?
Well, in my senior year, the class I needed to be a theater major and the class I needed to be a history major were scheduled at the same time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I picked this theater class and then did a different history class that I really wanted to take. It just didn't officially satisfy the major requirements.
Okay.
Which, whatever.
What was your goal at that time? Like, were you wanting to teach theater history or?
No, I went to college thinking I really like science and history and theater. And I did not submit it with my college applications, which I'm grateful for. I don't think it would have helped, but I wrote a draft college admissions essay about this play that I was going to direct someday and write. It was about the chemical compounds used in Shakespeare plays. This is 17-year-old me.
Wow.
It had like dancing molecules. It was someday I should just do it to satisfy my 17-year-old self's dreams. But I went to college and realized that, like, you know, a liberal arts college is great, but they also still say you should probably focus on some things.
Yeah.
And I started focusing, and I wanted to be a history professor for a little tiny bit, but I just kept working in the theater world and going, this is pretty great. I think so often, you know, we all tell people how hard it is and what a difficult industry this is, and that is all very, very true. But it was kind of hard to imagine that it could actually be possible.
Yeah.
And so, I was probably a year to a year and a half out of school before I was like, oh, this is an actual thing that maybe, if I'm really lucky, you know, could work out in the long term. So
right. What did you want to do with it then? I mean, was it to become an actor or director, or?
I've known I was a director, I think, since the second year of college.
Okay.
Where I just I watch myself way too much when I'm acting. Right, I have really, really hard time to stop watching myself. I'm really curious in the big picture. When I started assistant directing, I was so happy. Right, it just felt like this is exactly right. And then I got to direct some things in college, and I just went, oh, this is the answer.
Yeah. What did you first direct? Do you remember?
The first, I directed a short play called Minnie Mouse in the Frozen Food Aisle. Written work. One of my best friends was in it. She's now a grant writer, not an actor at all. And we had a great time. And then the first full-length thing I directed was Urinetown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hefty step from the
yes, it was. Yeah. The original director, who was a senior, had to leave, and I said, well, I'll try this. And I mean, the lessons I can learn from that, like, we never had a design meeting. The costume design and the set design, both by people who are now accomplished designers in their own rights, but none of us knew that we should probably talk about how they worked together.
Right.
And then I think the second play I ever directed was Women of Troy. It's quite a bit different than your.
Okay. Yeah. Slightly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's my eclectic taste.
Oh my gosh, that's quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a large gap between those two things.
And what a huge step to take. My first directing experience was miserable. I mean, it was really, let me rephrase that. We had a couple miserable college professors who stated things in a very non-helpful way that made the experience negative.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at me and say, I didn't get it, and walk away, that doesn't really help anything. So, right. But you're right. Like, the first experience is the one that all those mistakes, like, okay, well, now we know what to do for next time.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to do Helena Troy anytime soon. Or no.
Yeah.
Not going to do that.
No.
Wow. Is there anything that you wouldn't direct? Like,
yeah. I mean, yes. Like, but in the world of, like, offensive things.
Well, yes.
Like, things I just believe shouldn't be in the world. Other things I would not direct. I think there are definitely, like, stories also that are not my place to tell. So, but stylistically, I would say no. I feel really fortunate that I've had a directing career where I've been able to not get so put in a box, I think, so easily.
Yeah.
You end up that way. And, like, I have not done a lot of comedy.
Okay.
And I've not done a lot of super realism, right? I don't do a lot of plays with couches. But just 2 summers ago, I directed Born Yesterday at Texas Shakespeare Festival. And that is a play that is super funny. It's all about comic timing, and it's super realism, fancy New York hotel room, or Washington, D.C. hotel room, right? Yeah. This big, beautiful, realistic set, and everyone's drinking all the time. And so it's about tracking the glasses and where those things go. And when I work in a, slightly more abstract or minimalistic world, which is where most of my directing experience is, it doesn't, no one's carrying around glasses and tracking how much whiskey they drank. So
Yeah.
it was a whole new thing, and I was just thrilled to get to do it because I don't get to do those things very often.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you the worst show. We'll get there. What was the most interesting directing experience you've had? Whether good or bad, just interesting.
Yeah. So one of the very first plays that I did in Milwaukee was I self-produced a production of Margaret Atwood's The Penelope Ad.
Okay.
The retelling of the Odyssey from the perspective of Odysseus's wife Penelope. And in the Odyssey, there's this one sentence about her 12 maids, and when all the men got home, they went, wow, like, you know, you've all been dishonest, and they hanged them. And that's all you know about these women.
Okay.
And so Margaret Atwood, in all of her wonderful glory, has written a novella and now a play about those women and what was their story, right, and what was their backstory. And it's an ensemble piece. They play all the different characters, 13 person cast.
Wow.
And I did it underneath a bridge in a swing park. So it's a number of people in this community organization had come and set up these big giant swings hanging from this huge overpass over the river.
Oh
And a
my
little
God.
park had popped up underneath it with these little benches. And so I was driving by one day and I'd read this play and I was like, that's the set I have in my mind. It just happens to actually exist in the world. So got a bunch of friends together who had experience in that site-specific work, and we did this play, and people walked by and stopped, and you could throw your $5 in the bucket if you wanted to at the end.
Wow.
And it just, it was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
That's cool.
That's amazing. That would be good for this timing too, because you're
Yeah.
outdoors and
Right, exactly.
put the swings 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing to me the things that are popping up that people have figured out in this time.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. And you know,
Mhm.
you and I have talked about this quite a bit, but it's amazing the innovations that people have had, like it or not. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think that this will shape things moving forward?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, I don't think we're ever going back to the way that we were doing things before. And I think in many ways, like, that's a really, really good thing.
Right.
Is a lot of things that were not great about the way we used to work have come to the foreground, and we're going to be able to adapt from there. And I think, in the technology world is going to be a part of what we're doing. We've also learned how accessible it's making a lot of art to people who, for various reasons, aren't going to travel to the theater to see something. So I'm excited about what that looks like, and also just watching myself and so many theater artists around the country figure out how these mediums work, right, and what the tools are. And I hope to come out of this way more technically proficient in the world of video and the world, and maybe that's about being able to talk to a projection designer differently in the future.
Sure.
And that's it. But all of those, I think all of those things, we're just going to get better and better at how that works.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you have a lovely little pandemic journey that you've been on, because you got a new job.
Yeah.
When did all of that start? Like,
yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I think it was April.
was it April? Okay. I think it was after the pandemic had started.
Yeah, for sure. It was after the pandemic had started.
Yeah.
Could have been April or May, sometime in there. And I wasn't looking for a job. The search committee reached out to me and said, hey, I think you'd be interested in this. I was like, wow, okay. I hadn't really right. There's a pandemic and I'm running my theater company in Chicago, and try to think about what that looks like. And I'd only been there a little while, and I was like, I don't know, is this the right moment? And at the end of the day, it was like, well, just talk to some people from CATCO, see if you like them. And that made it all so incredibly clear, and just went, wow, what a the board is really brave right now and really interested in like real work and productions that make people think and bring people joy. And I think we all have a similar goal in mind for what the purpose of theater is. I'm also, Krista, this, I'm really big on theater education.
Mm-hmm.
That's been probably half of my career. And so getting to lead a theater that has such a strong CATCO as kids and education programs. It feels really important.
Well,
we couldn't do that. Yeah. I wouldn't want to run a theater that didn't have those programs. So
yeah,
the fact that those are already so strong was just yet another draw. And as a Milwaukee person, the mid-sized Midwestern city just feels like home.
Yeah. And we're a little bit warmer.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
A little bit.
Tropical, yes.
Our name is shorter.
Yes.
That not as much to write.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been
Counting
to Milwaukee. Literally,
head.
that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what the Alice Cooper said in Wayne's World.
That's all I've got.
Which means the good land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not worthy.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
That's bad that's all we know of Milwaukee is Wayne's World.
Well, sometime post-pandemic, we can go there together. I'll show you around.
Okay. More than just what we see in Wayne's World. That's a possibility. It's the things that we learn from TV and movies, though. I mean, it's a good education.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not always, but you know what? I've showed my kid a lot of storybots, and you ask him anything about the planets, and he knows all about the planets, and so it works. You know.
There's a lot of useless information.
Oh, there's tons of crap out there too. Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. The stuff that we're seeing our kids watch is I really like how sorry, sidebar. My son is into the videos of people playing video games. So he's watching somebody play a video game.
See, I get that more than I get like unboxing videos. Watching somebody else open toys.
Yeah, that I do not understand.
That seems very odd to me. But
and they get paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. Like there's one kid that's like they're the king of the unboxing videos, and it's like his parents buy him toys all the time, and literally they just open it and they make a YouTube channel out of it, and it funds more toys. And I don't know how you fall into that racket, but yeah.
What a great job.
Yeah. I mean,
take toys out of boxes and then play with them. Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. What's it going to look like when he's a teenager? You know, I mean,
yeah. I don't want to see or smell. No, but Gabe has been watching some of them are not bad. Granted, there's some entertaining people, and there's a father-son duo that's kind of fun to watch. It's kind of cute, like seeing them interact. The problem is what he's learned from it is now how to do commentary when he's playing video games. So nobody's around.
Right.
But we know exactly what's going on. It's all very loud.
Yeah.
Very loud. Did I mention that they're back at school and how wonderful today is? Okay. I sent that to Andrew first thing this morning. It was just like, today's a great day. The kids are back in school. He sent something back. I was like, I know, because the kids are in school. Did I mention the kids are in school? It's been a long 6 months. But so then you just kind of randomly were found for CATCO and then went through the process and
kept meeting people and kept going like, wow, what an amazing group of people, like looking for this next step. And and then Catherine and I drove here and looked around and went, this place seems pretty cool. And then took the job.
What does Catherine think about it?
Catherine loves it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm very lucky there. It was not.
Okay. What is she?
No, I think when we were in Chicago, like she missed a lot of things about Milwaukee and just the ease of getting places, and her commute was an hour and 20 minutes. And and now we just have access to the city in a very different way. And we now live somewhere where we can get a dog.
Yeah.
So.
And you said, no, you don't want mine? Is that? Okay. I know I'd asked you. I just didn't know if you changed your mind. Okay.
This year we've gone from, we got a puppy to, does anybody want this dog? She's delightful. But she's a puppy. And she's now getting bigger than our 4-year-old dog. She keeps eating. We keep feeding.
Right.
But she is the happiest thing on 4 legs.
So nice.
It's almost dopey. We know she's not dopey. She's very smart. She's a poodle. She's very smart, but she is just happy. And unfortunately she pees when she's happy. So there's just a lot of tinkle all the time. But when my son came home from his first day yesterday, she was like jumping, attacking him because she doesn't know what it's like for us to be gone.
Yeah.
It's
It's
amazing.
so great for dogs. Dogs are loving this. It's gonna be really hard.
I'd say pets in general, especially for like Zoom calls and stuff like this. Is that your cat? Oh, this is my cat. Yeah. And so it's I like that. It's a nice break.
You don't have a cat, do you, Leda?
No.
Okay. It seems like, and I'm not a cat person, you know that.
Yeah.
I stopped breathing, so I just by default don't like cats. But it seems like for as elusive of animals that they are learning how to make their presence known on Zoom.
Yes.
They hear the conversation and they're like, oh, you're talking to somebody, let's see what's going on here. And they want to be in the middle of the action.
Yeah.
And they also
walk in front of the camera.
Warm. Yeah, keyboards are warm and they like sitting on top of the warm spaces, and that's why they're always trying to walk right in front of you. So yeah, very helpful.
No.
Yeah.
This is why we don't record podcasts from home. So what are you going to get? Do you know? Are you going to get a puppy, or are you going to get like a rescue older?
I don't know. All very TBD. Hopefully like a young-ish dog.
Okay.
Catherine had a Yorkie before, so that small dog world, right? Small to medium-sized dog world is kind of where she's at and what she knows about. She's the dog expert, so she's doing all the dog research, figuring it out.
Crazy. Do you have names picked out?
No, not at all.
Okay. That's the naming thing it's like naming a kid, you know.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to share it with people.
But we haven't even shared with each other. I think we're just going to meet the dog and then we're going to know. That's the hope.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So when you guys moved here, like, did you have any like gauging of where you wanted to be? Because I know you were kind of like, we just got here, we had to find a place to live. How do you do that?
That's basically what happened. And also we're finding a place to live where like there's going to be a pandemic for a while. So really, I would say like that was the number one driver on where we wanted to live, is now we have a backyard. And do we need a backyard for the next like 10 years of our lives? Not necessarily, but whatever. Like we'll deal with that later.
Right.
Right now we have a backyard, and it's a game changer, right? I was in a like apartment building in Chicago, and when you go outside and you walk down the sidewalk, there are a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can go outside and I don't even run into people. I'm really good at the game where you like walk through the side of the sidewalk, make people space, and you don't have to do that.
That's good.
And it's really just a wonderful break from it's also just such a good reminder of like how different this pandemic is for so many people.
Yeah.
It's like, right. I'm kind of glad I know what that felt like in Chicago, in an apartment building where you've got to, be careful in the hallway and you're touching the doorknobs, and then also what it feels like where I can just walk out of my house and I know that only the people who live here have touched this doorknob, right? It's just a whole other way to experience this. So
yeah.
Nice, yes.
And you wound up in the Worthington area. How are you liking it so far?
It's great.
So I love that.
We're just right. We're going on walks. Excellent.
Have you found any, I know you probably haven't been able to go to many places, but have you found restaurants, anything that you've enjoyed so far?
We've been to Schmidt's, that's the name, right? Schmidt's Sausage House. We've been there 3 times.
Well, they've got those cream puffs and those are legit. So,
and then we just had our first cream puff a few days ago.
Oh man. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
So we have not expanded very far.
Okay.
But it's great.
I am sad to admit this, that I've been in here since 1987. I've never been to Schmidt's.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty good. You should check it out.
I mean, it's sad because, my vast 5 years of German, you would think that would be my Jawohl. Where would you want to go? I mean, obviously the theater hadn't been open, but what are places that you've heard of or seen in Columbus that you're like, yeah, we got to try this out, or we got to check it out?
Well, we're in Worthington, so Whitney House, obviously, on the list.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, we've already been to Buckeye Donuts. That was delicious.
Yeah.
Right? It was kind of like the random when you Google where to go. Our very first weekend trip here, like that's kind of what we did. that it? It's kind of sad. Barbara brought me pizza when I first moved in, which was really sweet. But where was it from? I mean, she left me a menu so that we would know, and it's somewhere on the kitchen counter, right? I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's all right. It's more important.
Yeah,
you're getting your kitchen.
Oh, we had yellow brick pizza too. That was good.
yeah, yellow brick's really good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And
Do you? I mean, Chicago is known though for restaurants. Like, was that aspect of the city hard to leave?
Yeah, I lived in Rogers Park, which is up on the very north end of the city, and so like the restaurant world is half an hour in the car or an hour on the train. You know, so it like sometimes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an everyday, occurrence.
Okay.
And Catherine's a really good cook, so.
Yeah, that
Great.
makes it easy. Yeah. We've gotten very good at cooking since COVID hit.
I've not. I've stopped.
Well, there's
I wonder if this fall we're gonna go back to bread, right? Because it was too hot to bake bread.
Yeah.
But I wonder, we've got to stock up on yeast before there's a new run on it at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Did you do the bread thing?
Oh yeah. I mean, Catherine did the bread thing and I ate it. So.
You did that.
You helped, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one thing we didn't, unfortunately. I mean, this is known for us. Ben and I have both been doing keto since the beginning of the year.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of depressing when everyone was doing the bread things for like.
Yeah, everyone's like breading up and like everyone's doing like the COVID depression eating and everything like that. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll have another burger. Without a bun. Yeah. So,
As Doug calls it, he just says your meat and vegetables. That's it. Like basically, but cheese. Cheese.
Oh, nice. Good.
Cheese, bacon. Yeah.
Bacon.
There's a lot to love on keto, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But when everybody's making these sourdough starters and showing these loaves, cracked open, top, butter.
Yeah.
Hmm?
For me, it's cookies. Like I make really good chocolate chip cookies, and like that's the one thing that like, man, occasionally I'll just go, oh God, that sounds so good, it's so good. But what can you do?
But it's painful.
Yeah, it is.
There's been a couple of chips is my thing.
Okay.
Like sometime when we are able to and we're working in our facility, we're going to walk to Condado and have chips and queso.
Okay,
Condado.
great.
Condado, their queso is literally drinkable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I drink it, but they also have really good jalapeno margaritas. But hey, Condado, hit us up. Give us something.
If you feel like sponsoring the show, yes, please. We'll take payment in tacos. So
yeah. But it's where we work. It's close enough. It's this lovely, like, I don't know, 3/4 mile walk.
Nice.
This is actually, I might do this tomorrow. This is usually where I go when I'm planning my shows.
Okay.
I go to Condado, I sit down with chips and queso and just work in the sunshine.
Awesome.
I'm totally doing this tomorrow, Leda. Do you want to
That sounds really good.
Oh my goodness. So what happened for you and your company and everybody around you in Chicago when everything shut down? What was that like?
Yeah, so I was supposed to start rehearsals for a beautiful world premiere 13-actor play on March 16th. Our fundraiser was March, I think, 14th.
Wow.
So we canceled we just moved our fundraiser online, right?
Yeah.
In 24 hours. So now we're all learning how fundraisers move online and like all of these things. But I think we made the decision maybe even less than 24 hours before go time. And basically I got on Google Hangouts with myself and a bunch of Straw Dog Ensemble members, and we talked about what was happening and what mattered, and different people sent in videos of them. Somebody I think did a handstand while naming all of the production history, like in the past 10 years. So there was everyone just sent in their special talents and songs, and everyone just threw it together that day. And it actually went really well. I think people were all feeling really, generous, and no one had lost their jobs yet. And we were all, just feeling like we need to figure out how to support the theater. So in actuality, that fundraiser, did what it needed to do, but we didn't get to all, people had cooked food. We had all the food ready to go, and we had donated it somewhere. But so I was really sad, and really I'm very sad of this play, Welcome to Keene, New Hampshire. It's this beautiful brand new play. I have been working towards this in almost a year, and right before rehearsals were going to start, it wasn't happening. The good thing is we didn't know how long we had, and so we decided to start rehearsal online. And so, new play, there was lots of table work to be done, and so we spent 2 weeks working on this play and making some edits and figuring out character things, and it was wonderful. It was like probably one of the best things I've done this entire COVID-19 time. And we just got to bond as a group and get to know each other, and all of the things we were starting to figure out in our lives. We knew at night we were going to log into Google Hangouts and talk about this play. And then we were done table working it. We got to the point where it was obvious we needed to get on our feet, and the whole thing is on pause, and it is still sitting on pause.
Oh, man.
I hope someday the great majority of us are able to bring this play into being. So
yeah, man.
We'll see.
But what a great thing though to have as a distraction.
Yes.
I mean, to completely block. It was.
Yeah.
I think that's why people baked bread too. It's just like, it was just some sort of creative process, even if it's just learning how to make sourdough bread.
It taught me so much about the virtual theater world too. Like, not that we were trying to present something virtually, but just the normalcy of like the stage manager called a 10-minute break, and everyone turned off their video and their microphone and went and did their own thing, got a snack. Like, we were in our houses. That was weird. You missed the like just hanging out with people on break. But we had these, right? There was a rehearsal schedule that came out every night. Right? The rehearsal report comes into your inbox. Like, all these things that are so routine and normal for us, which I'm really excited because CATCO starts rehearsal in just a week or so for the first play that I'm here to be involved in. And so there are going to be rehearsal schedules and rehearsal reports, and people are, going to start collaborating with each other in a virtual rehearsal room, and I'm so excited to get back to that world.
It's crazy. I remember, I think it was the first weekend that we had shut down. There was a play that I'd found, and I just, it was complicated because it deals with, you've got to read this play, Leda. I think you would enjoy it. I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, cool.
This is beautiful. I'm sorry. This is like Krista's geeking out. You're here. Sorry. Stay with me.
I'll check out for a minute.
But the whole premise of this play is that it is a principal, a teacher, and a student. And it's very clear from the beginning that there has been potentially some inappropriate behavior happening. Here's the cool part, is the teacher is both a male and a female, and the student is both a male and a female. And it intertwines and changes constantly. So it's like male teacher, female student, male teacher, male student. And to see how, that's why I needed it read out loud, because I'm like, I need to hear how this sounds. And it's like the teacher and the student must not be like, it's encouraged as much diversity as possible.
Yeah.
The only consistent is that the principal is a male. But even that changes the dynamic, and you come to find later that the principal has had potentially inappropriateness with the teacher when the teacher was a student. So it's cool script. But I just thought, okay, well, we're all home, and I got a couple of people together and said, would you mind if we? And of course the response was, I got nothing better to do. So I had two of my former students, I had two of my friends just within the theater community, and then a friend of mine that lives out in California just kind of moderating the whole thing. We read through this whole script, and at the end I was like, okay, guys, I'm so sorry. It's been almost 2 hours. I don't want to take your time, but give me a little bit, give me one sentence about what you thought. We sat for another half an hour. Nobody left. It was just like, and that was everybody's favorite part, was just like talking about theater, talking about the craft, and digging into it again. And it was like, I think somebody finally said, like, stop apologizing. We want to be here. And I guess that's still the same.
Yeah.
Even teaching over the summer with these kids is like, I feel bad. I feel like this isn't the real thing. It's not enough. We're not able to No, that's not the case, because they're sad every time the class ends. I'm sad when the class ends.
I mean, that virtual play that they wrote that you directed was just so good.
Yeah.
It's one of the best pieces of virtual theater I've seen. Like it was honest. It knew what it was. It understood its medium, and it was just there to be funny and to be poignant, and it was so great. And you could just tell that they loved making it as well.
It did. It was and this has happened honestly every class we've taught. And I keep saying we've just been blessed with a really great crop of kids. Of course, it's every group is a great crop of kids, but that one especially, they just gelled. So they had 2 weeks to write this play with Andrew, and then I took that group and I directed them through the play, and we did it virtually. Those kids knew how to make fun of me. I give major credit to kids when they have great comedic timing that they can make fun of their instructor. Oh yeah, because we always warm up to music. So I'd put a song on, and one day one of the girls is like, "Miss Krista, do you have anything that's like less than 10 years old on your music?" It's like, of course I do. No, I didn't actually. But they were good. They were smart cookies.
Yeah.
I think that this time too is showing how advanced the youth are in this format, probably more so than us adults.
Yeah.
That they know how to communicate over these systems. The part is, what's it going to be like when we get back person to person?
Yeah.
And people have to wear pants consistently.
Yeah.
You know.
Challenge.
I'm a big pants wearer. This has not been a problem for me.
Okay.
I don't get when my husband's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, this person admitted they haven't put on deodorant in 4 days." Why would you say that?
Yeah. I've always been a big leggings and dresses person, so like that's always comfortable. Wherever I need to go, it's comfortable.
Right. And most of what we do, we have to be able to move in
exactly. I really started this when I was teaching a lot, because you're right, it was easy to go like, wait, I can sit on the floor, and then I can do this, and I can show everybody how to make a giant tableau and a little tableau.
What's your favorite age to work with?
Middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
They're just like, they're at this moment where you can have grown-up conversations, right? You can talk about the story that you're reading. You can talk about what matters to them in the world. They're going to have these fascinating, curious conversations, but also they're like so game to explore.
Yeah.
Right. They're just not quite cool enough to know that like maybe you need to be hesitant in front of your friends. It's like that, even like in like 8th grade, right? That starts to creep in, especially in a model where like that's the oldest person in the school. But that's 6th and 7th grade. I just think that's great.
I may be throwing my 7th grader your way just for my sanity. Yeah.
Excellent.
She's not as much fun at home.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah. But I think I like that in that's the age too where when they don't fit in at school, theater is somewhere where they can fit in.
Yeah, totally.
That was, for me, that was kind of where everything was. And yeah. Now outside of theater, I don't really want to work with them, but you know, that's me.
Yeah.
Do you like working with littles?
Yeah, it's not something I had a whole lot of experience with until just a couple years ago.
Okay.
So it just felt like I know that I am like really well trained and have developed all these skills for that middle and high school age group.
Yeah.
So starting in the elementary school world, I was like, I want to be a better teacher, and I just haven't practiced enough, right? And been trained in that way. And so that would take a little getting used to, but once I kind of re-hit that rhythm, because my initial teaching artist educator training was K through 12. And so I had some really great mentors teaching me how to teach, but that was a long time ago. And so a couple of years ago, I started working with a theater and working with kindergartners, working with 3rd graders. And it just took me a little while to go, oh, right, these are the rhythms, right? This is where we're at. but then it's really fun because you can just, especially we were working mostly in improv based classes, and then just watching the stories we could come up with, right? When it was really young students who just imaginations are so open.
Yeah.
And the filters aren't there yet. We made some amazing improv plays.
And they don't even realize that they're learning something.
Right.
Now it takes a lot of coffee. That I will say.
Yes.
A lot of coffee. And I think that's what we're learning too in this, like, doing the teaching online. They're doing really good at focusing.
Yeah.
But if you give them the opportunity to just talk,
Ooh,
golly, that's really what they want to do. The conversations just go everywhere. There was one class that we did that I said, I'm going to stay on for lunch if you guys want to just hang out.
Yeah.
And there were about 4 of them that stayed on. I think we talked about ramen the whole time.
Sure.
And it's so good for them to have that, and maybe, I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you think that their communication is building because of this platform?
And I think it depends on the kid, right?
Yeah.
Right. Some people, this is totally their world.
Yeah.
And then there are some people who I think, I have a friend who's a teacher who's like, I just hate looking at my face. Right. Yeah. Like, there's just like this self-awareness. And so I think everyone has their own place there in like how how used you are. Because that's the weirdest thing about this is most of these platforms, unless you fix all your settings, you're watching yourself. That's distracting. And I think for kids, that can be really distracting. It's like, I would never teach in a room with mirrors. Someone find me a curtain. I think that part of it's hard, but I also think there's a little more structure for some people who need it, which can be helpful.
That's true. I mean, I'm ready to be done with it. I'm not going to lie, but so you have a pretty big endeavor coming up with CATCO. So tell us, I want to hear your side of this.
Yeah. It's been kind of nice starting in this moment of pause and figuring out what's next. So the first thing I'm working on is putting together a virtual season that, if necessary, and we'll adapt if we need to, if things open up a little bit or we can rehearse in the same room, like we will adapt and we will do some of those things. But for right now, we're putting together a season that is going to be able to be rehearsed and performed all virtually and separate. So I'm putting together what that looks like and trying to just make sure I've got the right projects that suit this world really, really well. And then the exciting thing I get to do is just dream about the future. And I've got this great partner in Christy, who's the executive director, and she and I are just thinking about like, what are the structures that we need to make this successful, and starting a listening tour. We've just been talking to a whole bunch of people, right, and trying to hear from folks who live in Columbus and see theater or don't see theater, but what Columbus needs. And I really want to be responsive to that. It's just been really fun talking to folks and hearing about the theater world and thinking about what kinds of stories we want to tell in the future. So I'm starting a big, giant, long list of play ideas I've got, but I think more importantly, starting to kind of build a framework about the types of plays that CATCO can perform that Columbus really wants to hear.
Yeah. And we've got a festival coming up. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So on October 24th, we're collaborating with the Heart of Protest at King Arts Complex, and we're going to present a full day of short plays and talkbacks and panel conversations. Playwright Idris Goodwin, who's this amazing playwright who has a lot of experience working with young people. He has written a number of short plays, and they're all titled together, Short Plays Towards an Anti-Racist Tomorrow. And so all of the plays are designed to spark multi-generational conversations around the topic of race, all the way down to 7-year-olds. And so my hope is that these 4 short plays, they're 10 minutes long. So they're really easy because after the October 24th, we're also going to put them on YouTube, and they'll just be available for anyone to watch. We're making it with a bunch of Columbus artists. And then these plays are just great tools to watch. They're interesting, they're thought-provoking. Some of them are really, really fun and heartwarming. And then they're a great way to start a conversation with your kids or kids Or, there are plays that have characters in them that are in elementary school and middle school, and people who are adults looking back at a moment that happened in a high school setting. So, it really is intentionally, with CATCO and CATCO as Kids, a multi-generational experience. Really excited to be working with 4 amazing directors on these pieces. We're having auditions very soon. We're going to put a whole team together of Central Ohio artists and tell these stories. And so that's the end of October. And then I'm working on a holiday virtual play for sometime in December.
That's exciting.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm very tired.
But I love where we are in that you and Christy get the opportunity to start clean slate.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's in a forced pause.
Exactly.
It's not that you're coming in and, okay, here's the season you're given, go, take this. Here's the box that you've been given, open it and run with it. It's like,
yeah,
you can't do as much as you want to right now. So
all of the plays that like we wanted to do, that Stephen had programmed, like some really beautiful stories, and we just can't do those right now. So let's figure out who we are and what the future looks like together.
It's exciting. And it's, I mean, I'm thankful to be a part of a company that's willing to take a different approach with something.
Yeah. No, I'm really grateful for that.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
You're doing great. Well, we're excited about it. We'll put links to all of that good stuff coming up on the 24th when we post our episode. But
awesome.
Leda Hoffman, you are amazing. Thank you for coming on. And
thanks for having me.
Hanging out. Hope it wasn't too painful.
It was fun. Great chatting with you.
Our big format that we follow.
Yeah.
You know me and how polished I am, and
sometimes it's just good to talk.
It's lovely.
Hear what's going on in people's lives.
Yep.
This is what we love about the show. I mean, this is it's literally the only thing that we do. One of our last guests was like, "Is it okay if I tell a story?" We're like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for sharing with us. And
great.
Do you want to give the social rundown?
Sure. Hey,
You're
if you like what you hear, follow us on Facebook. That's kind of our primary landing page where you can get information, suggest ideas for topics or guests, ask us any questions that we're legally obliged to answer.
What questions are those?
I don't know. So
I don't want to see those.
Or give you unsolicited legal advice too. So, Krista does that a lot.
No, I don't.
Anyway, SoundCloud is kind of where we post everything. It ends up on iTunes and other places. And you can also watch all of the episodes on YouTube as well.
Yes.
And aside from that, I don't know. What else you want me to say?
Preferably things not about giving unsolicited legal advice. Wonderful. Thank you, Leda. You're amazing.
Thanks so much. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Boxland Media. Think big.